I bring you the greetings and the fragrance of Greece. I still am imbued with the fragrance of Greece. What's that fragrance? Rilani. I come with a great joy of telling you that things are not as bad as the media would report it to us. Of course, there are all sorts of things happening in Greece. The economy, of course, is the major concern. And I believe, as I reported on the radio last Saturday from Fr.Eugene, that όσοι λένε ότι δεν γίνεται, έχουν λάθος. Ότι γίνεται. That Greece will come out of this crisis, and it is possible. When we think of Greece, we think of a country of 4,000 years plus of history. But let's just take the last 100 years. The τελευταία 100 χρόνια της ιστορίας της Ελλάδος. Here we have a country in the 20th century that faced the Balkan Wars, a country that faced World War I, a country that faced the catastrophe of Asia Minor, the catastrophe of the expulsion of the Christians of Turkey, a country that faced World War II with such dynamism that the entire Allied forces say that if it were not for Greece, Hitler would have conquered Moscow. We held back the Germans. What was it that Churchill said? All fought like heroes, speaking of the soldiers of World War II. All fought like heroes. But heroes fought like Greeks. Wow. After the Second World War, there was the Communist Revolution and Civil War in Greece, casting out the communists of Greece. Then came the junta of the 70s, the dictatorship. Having gone through all of those crises and tragedies in one century, wars and famine, expulsions, civil strife, cannot Greece survive this economic crisis? That was made by others. Let us not be fooled to think that Greece created the problem. Others. And so I come to you now with the great hope that we shall see a new Greece, a new political animal on the horizon. One that will restore the democracy of the past, and the joy of life of the past, and the dreams to be realized in the present. Γίνεται. It can happen, and it will happen, to the great glory of Greece. I had the joy, while I was in Greece, to be in the southern tip of Greece, right here on the thumb of the Peloponnesus, at a place called Fr.Eugene, which is their, let's call it their Côte d'Azur, their Riviera. I had the great honor and the privilege of doing a wedding there of one of our girls from our parish, a Brooklyn girl who married a Brooklyn boy there at her father's villa. I also had the joy when I was there not only to breathe Greece and to eat Greece, but to swim in the waters of our ancestors and to walk in the footprints of our ancestors, and to rejoice in the sight of mountains and valleys and seashores incomparable to describe. I had an extra added treat. Last Sunday, Etia mera, etia ora. Last Sunday about this time, Greek time. My host said to me, would you like to go down to the shore? I said, sure, let's go down to the shore. And while there, he said, let me introduce you to Captain Emmanuel. I said, and who's he? He said, he's the captain of the king's yacht. Ivarga, Kaiki, Vasiliak. I said, wow. Is it here? He says, that's the one right there. Beautiful wooden kaiki. It looks like the ancient Greek ships of the past. Wooden sails. And the captain said, would you like to come on board ship? And I said, oh my goodness, of course. So the captain took me aboard. I went into the king's bedroom. I went to the king's kitchen. I went to where he placed davening. I was so excited. Now, I know some of you are not royalists. That's your problem. I like royalty. Then I said to the captain, I said, Captain Emmanuel, I said, what are the Vasilias? He said, he'll be here within the half hour. And so I had the joy of not only going on the ship, but of meeting the king and meeting the queen and the entire royal family, because they were taking a yachting trip into the archipelago, into the Gulf of Argos. I had the joy of being given from the mountaintops, oregano, with such a pungent, strong scent that no matter what you do with it, everybody knows you've got it. Tortilica se plasticò, prevala se alles apolices, I put it in plastic and double plastic, and I put it in brown, and I figured this fragrance has to end. It doesn't end. It goes on and on and on. And because I had it in my valises, everything I wore smelled of oregano. When I finally arrived in New York, I had the joy of going to the customs agent. And he looked at me and said, welcome back, father. Mom secretly went to the guy, he picked up his nose. He says, it smells like gyros here. I said, that's strange, look at all the Greeks. And he says, what's that smell? And I said, if I show it to you, you can't arrest me. He says, I won't answer that yet. Show me what you've got. And I opened the oregano, and he looked at it, and believe me, you know, Trimeno oregano, it looks like marijuana. I said, we don't smoke this, we put it on our food. And he says, welcome to America. Χάρηκα τόσο πολύ με το ταξίδι μου στην Ελλάδα. Βεβαίως, είχα μόνο 10 μέρες στην Ελλάδα. Μόνο 10 μέρες. I only had about 10 days in Greece, and it's never enough. But it's so good to know your roots, to know where you come from, and to look at things that you know your ancestry looked upon, those mountains and this valley and those trees, these olive orchards, for centuries. Don't look at today's Greece, where you're here today, it's in 2 hours you're in Paris. In those days, people were stationary, they were not so mobile. And so generation after generation after generation of our people stayed in one place. And I know that these beautiful mountains and valleys, the citrus groves, lemoniers, portugaliers, the orange groves, the lemon groves, the grapefruit trees, the olive trees of Ayani Spartas, where I come from, were there. They've always been there. And that's what excites the soul, to know that although everything else is in transition and flux and change, some things remain the same. And that's what we're most grateful for, the things that remain the same. Coming home course, was bittersweet because I really wanted to stay longer. But coming home to America is always a joy. Is always a joy. As we say, there's no place like home. And I did click my heels. And I said, Toto, let's go home. And Toto answered and said, fall home. And tutti somos mezzo sto Simon. There's a beautiful expression there. I know you've seen it already. I mentioned it earlier. It's on the bulletin, I think it's paragraph 2. It says, Fr.Eugene will relate tales of his trip at the homily today. Well, I've done that. The question is, did he miss us? We did it already? I don't know. I know you missed me, that's for sure. Of course I missed you, and I did think of you once. Getting back to the issue of Greece. It's a crisis that was manufactured by others. It's a crisis that will be vanquished by Greece and the European Union. Because if Greece does fall, mark my words, the ripple of that tsunami will not only deluge all of Europe, it will be felt on the shores of America. So let us pray that reasonable minds, non-greedy reasonable minds, will resolve the problems of Greece. Let me give you a final admonition that I learned while I was in Greece. The Greeks, of course, as you well know, are facing a formidable adversary economically, and that's Germany. Germany is not Greece's enemy, but the economy of Germany is Greece's enemy. Because so did the Germans want to manipulate all of Europe again. What the Germans could not do in World War I, and andiam olonon, what the Germans could not do in World War II, and andiam malos mios tonao, in 2 world wars, they are doing the 3rd World War, which is an economic world war. They're controlling Europe's economy, and by that controlling the world. It's an old story. Now, after World War II, as all conquered peoples know, they must make reparations. They must make payment to the countries they invaded and destroyed. To the tune of billions of dollars. Well, it's been 65 years or so since World War II. England got paid back by Germany with the pound sterling down to the farthing. France got paid back totally with every franc that was owed them. Greece, who held back the war for 6 months, has yet to see one Deutsche Mark. Not one. And if the reparations of World War II were to be paid to Greece, Greece could pay back Germany whatever she owes them and have plenty left over. It's a stranglehold of Germany on Greece. But America won't let it happen. And America is employing her political arm against Angela Merkel. You know Angela? She's anything but an Angela. Angela means an angel. She's nobody's angel. And she has now turned her focus around and says, no, we must save Greece, because of pressure from the United States. And the new French President Hollande likewise said, I will never let Greece succumb to leaving the Eurozone. So there are good things on the horizon. How soon? Only God knows. The only tragedy that I bring to you and I witness and I sense and I see a foreboding is that the brain drain of Greece, the young intellectuals, the university graduates, are being absorbed by Germany and France and Austria and Norway and Sweden and other countries who want these minds to work in their country. And so we have a great exodus of the genius of Greece. I would hope that it could be remedied soon so they can come home and rebuild a nation that will never succumb to any kind of tyranny, especially economic distress. Amen.